see you sitting in that show. A very warm welcome to our information night for Year 9 2017. If I haven't already said good evening to you, because I of course welcomed the mathematics session that started at 6 o'clock. Welcome. You're probably sitting here thinking, how did my child suddenly get into Year 9? Those years certainly do go fast. It's lovely to see some students here tonight as well. I think we're ready to get started. We may have a few that join us a little bit late. Okay, well, it's lovely to see such a wonderful turnout tonight. And for those of you that joined us an hour early for the maths session, I do hope you found that informative and you had the opportunity to ask any questions that you may have. Of course, we're always open for questions. Our email is easy to make contact with us. So if you felt that you had something that wasn't answered, or if you go away and you think of a question that perhaps wasn't covered, please don't hesitate to touch base with us and we can certainly help you out. I'm going to be looking up a few times tonight because we're actually videotaping. I know that's a very old-fashioned phrase and I got a little bit of laughter from some of my younger colleagues when I use that term. But we are videotaping these sessions. We're doing it as a trial because we understand that many parents travel quite extensively and it's very difficult to sometimes get here for evening sessions. So in addition to putting the PowerPoints up onto Connect AIS, for those who are unable to attend our sessions, you'll have the joy of watching the PowerPoint and also watching live performances. So if we make an error, you get to watch it over and over again. But for some of you that may not have had the opportunity to meet me, my name is Fiona Johnston and I have the privilege to be the head of secondary here. It's a wonderful job and I'm certainly still smiling about it. And I get the opportunity to work with a wonderful team of teachers and obviously a fantastic bunch of students as they go through their journey of secondary school. So it's around about this time each year that your sons and daughters in Year 8 start to be making some very important decisions in the coming months about their future and, more importantly, the subjects that they're going to be choosing to study for their next 2 years, which is, of course, their Year 9 and their Year 10. And it's very important that they are supported through the process. To some of them it's very exciting because it's probably the first time that they're really starting to make a choice rather than being handed a program of course. Obviously in the past they've always been able to choose their LOTE subjects, but it's now when we get into the electives and they get to specialise a little bit, and that usually brings a great deal of excitement and optimism from the students. Some of you may have already parented a child through the IGCSEs, depending on where you've come from and your experience to date. But for most of you, it's likely to be your first time. So whatever your experience, there is a lot of information to take away this evening. And like all IGCSE courses, if you've already parented a child through, each school does it slightly differently depending on the subjects that they run. And of course, we are a Southern Hemisphere timetable running from January to December, and that brings with it a few other changes as well, which we'll talk about as the evening progresses. The purpose of tonight is for students and parents to develop a greater understanding of what the IGCSEs are, an understanding of what future pathways are open to your students following the completion of the 2-year course, and also to find out about the individual subjects that will allow your students to reach their potential. Tonight is about ensuring that each student is well informed to choose the right subjects for them, and to also ensure that their decision is based on a number of factors that will be shared with you this evening. The students have already experienced a subject fair that was last Friday afternoon, and some parents, I believe, did pop along to that. I was in a staff briefing, so unfortunately missed it. But they've had that exposure already, and of course in their pod meetings, which are their year level meetings, they've also had the opportunity to hear Mr. Fernandez and also the heads of department about the subjects on offer. So they've had a little bit of information, but there's certainly more to come. I would like to introduce to you tonight some of the key people that will be guiding your students, your sons and daughters I should say, through the process of choosing their subjects. Remind our parents, particularly any of our new parents that have joined us recently, about where we stand as a school with our mission and vision and values, about the pathways on offers. Obviously we're going to get into the nitty-gritties of the IGCSE and also some timelines and some important dates that you will need to be aware of. So some great photos up there, which the staff always love when I showcase, but they're the SLT, or our senior leadership team, that are very much involved in guiding students through the process and then also making it happen. We have over to my left Miss Kalia Haran, who is our Deputy Head of Teaching and Learning. We also have Miss Kim Terry, who is not here at the moment. She's probably in her office. Mr. Doug Balzer behind us, who makes it happen from a timetable perspective. Mr. Balzer also oversees the day-to-day operations in the secondary school and your sons and daughters' camps and where they are and what they do each day. And we have two assistant heads of pastoral, Mr. Roger and Miss Manzi, who are also very involved in the process. People that are even close to the ground with the students in helping them is, of course, our two heads of Year 8, Mr. Watson, lovely maths teacher, and also Miss Chelsea Ewan, who's our humanities teacher. And then the very key man who has really stepped up tonight by even putting on a vest is Mr. Martin Fernandez, who is our IGC coordinator. He will certainly be dominating tonight's information session. There's two other pictures there that are important. One is of Miss Sarah Harris, who oversees our VET program. Now, VET stands for Vocation Educational Training. And if you've been following our updates in the newsletter, you'll know that we were very excited to this year launch vocational pathways. We are a non-selective school, and it's important that all students have the opportunity to achieve academic success and enjoy their courses of study. And two of the subjects that we've introduced with huge success has been our hospitality and our construction. And those subjects filter all the way down to our Year 9 and 10 program, where the students are able to gain a Certificate 1 in construction and also a Certificate 1 in hospitality. And you'll hear a little bit more about that later on tonight. And then the last very handsome man there is Mr. Tim Hudson, who oversees our EAL program, and I'll explain why he is important, or will be important to some of you, depending on your child and your child's pathway. So while tonight is very much about subject choices, and will definitely have a very academic focus, it is important that I acknowledge that AIS is about educating the whole child. A balanced program of academic studies, CCA activities, community service and downtime is a key success to successfully getting through Year 9 and Year 10. Your sons and daughters will be provided with a nurturing community throughout their journey, and we are fully committed to the notion of holistic, well-rounded education that cherishes the arts and sports as well as academics essential to each student's education. It is our aim for all of our AIS students to realise their potential through the exceptional opportunities on offer to them as an AIS student, and to leave AIS as caring, reflective, knowledgeable and principled students that are drawn to making a difference in the world for good. We hope that our values, achievement, respect and opportunity will guide them in their decision making and choices as they develop into young adults in the years ahead. I really like this slide, as it does give an idea about pathways. And you'll see there that we've got the HSC, the IBDP, and then an alternative pathway. Now, why is this relevant to you when your sons and daughters are in Year 10? Tonight, when you're sitting and hearing about the choices available on offer in IGCSE, it is important to have a slightly broader and wider hat on, because your children, if they continue at AIS, or wherever they continue their matriculation years, that's their final senior years of Year 11 and 12, it is important to be thinking that next step ahead. And you'll hear a little bit more about that. For example, your child may be thinking, I really think that I would like to study economics when I do the higher school certificate. So I won't do it at IGCSE because I'm going to pick it up in Year 11. And the truth is they can do that. But is it an advantage to have 2 years of economics behind them if they do want to do it later on? Absolutely it is. Okay? So it is important to know that as your kids go through the IGCSE, they will be making some choices. This is a really good slide, and I understand that the font is very small, so I will just talk through it, and it will be on the presentation that we upload onto Connect for you. Your students at the moment, your sons and daughters, are sitting either here in our Australian curriculum for Year 8. There may be a few that are on modified curriculum, and that would be individual for that particular student. And maybe some of you here tonight that have your sons and daughters in our EAL program, or what we call our PMC, which is our partial mainstream. The majority of our students will go down that traditional path into our IGCSEs, into either our HSC and IBDP, and this way here, and then onto further study. However, we do have some students that will choose vocational subjects like hospitality and construction, and they'll want to take those on to year 11 and 12. Can they take those on and still go to university? Absolutely, yes, they can. And we can talk to you further about that if you're thinking your child might like to go down that pathway and graduate perhaps with a certificate too in hospitality, as well as getting an ATAR to go on to university. We'll have some students that will go on to our ESSPP, which is our EAL secondary or senior school preparation program. Any child that is recommended for this course, there will be a further consultation one-on-one with the parents and the students involved. And that's a protected EAL course where you have half of your subjects mainstream and half of them EAL intensive. And sometimes, or actually most of the time, they come out of that ESSPP back into here, and you can see all the little dotted lines. So there's many, many pathways on offer to accommodate for the diversity of the students that we have here. And no pathway is right, no pathway is wrong. It's about getting what's right for your son and your daughter. So what I would like to do now is to hand over to our IGCSE coordinator, Martin Fernandez, to give you a little bit of a journey into what the IGCSE is and what it's going to look like for your sons and daughters for the next 2 years. Thank you.
Okay, hello everyone. I'm actually an English teacher too, so I will try and be brief. We'll start with a quiz. Alright, you tell me. James Bond, The View to a Kill. James Bond, The View to a Kill. What year is it? I got rubbish, huh?
84.
84, you're close. Everton win the European Cup. Liverpool win the league. Windows introduce Windows 1.0. What year was that? You were very close. It's not 84.
86.
80. Oh, try again. 80. I'll have to give it to you. 85. Now the only reason I mention that is not because it's about Everton or Liverpool. It's because that's when I sat at GCSE myself. So I've been through this 2-year programme. The IGCSE is an offshoot from it. I've been through it myself. So I know exactly what it's about. I lived it as a student rather than just as a teacher. I've been teaching it for approximately 15 years in countries such as Taiwan, China, and now here in Singapore. So I'm a very experienced IGCSE teacher. I find it an enjoyable, informative course, an excellent way to ensure the students are also reflective, informative, and most importantly, independent learners, which they will definitely be in year 11 and 12. So much so that the year 11 and 12 students that I teach now that went through the IGCSE, I can see the effect it's had on them. It's a very positive effect. They are independent learners. They do not need me always to direct them. They're very self-managed. And I think that's a very good byproduct of the IGCSE. So realistically, that is the blurb. 87 countries, 14 to 16. I did it when I was 14 to 16, a long time ago. Really good links to IB and HSC as well. And yeah, I really enjoy teaching it too. Now I've been a bit ambitious here by trying to put a movie on, but I am actually an English teacher. So if the movie doesn't work, we can just move on. The presentation is short. So that's pretty easy. It's down the bottom. So this is just an indication of where the IGCSE is taking the world. So I think it's really important to understand that it's the international benchmark. It is all over the world. Yes, I'm from the UK, but realistically, everybody I've taught in Asia has been doing the IGCSE. And it's very prevalent in Europe as well, as you can see. So here's how we tackle the IGCSE AIS. I think the most important point to make is that it's a holistic program. It's for all our students. All of our subjects and the way they are configured link well to our key values of respect, opportunity and achievement. We strongly recommend that you have a balanced timetable with out of classroom opportunities, as you'll see there with the NYAA program, sport, PE, etc. So yes, tonight is about academics, but we also have to ensure that within the IGCSE you also have a balanced timetable. And I think because it is the international benchmark, you will be having a balanced timetable. Alright. Sorry, so yeah, a little bit. This one's a short one. Now you need to know who Cambridge are, our suppliers for the curriculum, so take a look at these guys. Back on it. Yeah. So who are Cambridge?
Cambridge International Examinations is the world's largest provider of international education programs and qualifications for 5 to 19-year-olds, from primary through to secondary and up to university.
One of the great things about the Cambridge programme is that it enables progression. So one can actually see that the preparations at the primary and secondary stage prepare people very well then to go on to study a subject in depth at the advanced stage.
It's just taught me to learn independently and to research independently and to think on my own and based on my own initiative.
We offer world-class international education through high-quality curriculum, assessments and support for teachers.
What I find attractive in what I might call the Cambridge approach is that, first of all, there is content, but there is a primary emphasis on the analysis of the content, and maybe most importantly, being expressive about the content, being able to communicate it.
Our programs and qualifications help Cambridge learners be confident, responsible, reflective, innovative, and engaged.
I think you learn much more, and the things you do, you can apply them more to real life.
We help Cambridge teachers to be confident, responsible, reflective, innovative, and engaged.
The different approach forces you to see things from different points of view. That's a more international dimension, which is a very enriching experience for me.
We're a not-for-profit organisation and a part of the University of Cambridge. We share the same educational values and the university's commitment to excellence in education. Our qualifications are internationally recognised by the world's universities and employers, providing learners with a global passport to success.
Universities around the world understand the value of Cambridge qualifications. It's essential that our students see their own experience as a continuum. It doesn't stop when they graduate from school. What they've learned should be relevant to them in what is to come.
Cambridge assessments are rigorous and reliable, leading to international qualifications that are valued worldwide. Every year, thousands of learners gain the Cambridge qualifications they need to enter the world's top universities.
We've really realised that what we're doing is pitting our own students against the international best, and that really has a big impact on the school's curriculum.
We offer world-class support for teachers, including teacher guides, examiner reports, and online resources. We bring Cambridge schools, learners, and teachers closer together through events, training, online forums, and social networks.
One of the great benefits of being part of the Cambridge family is that there are, around the globe, some outstanding practitioners and some absolutely outstanding world-class schools.
It makes you realise that you're not in isolation. You're working with really a really large international community who will have the same problems, the same successes, but different solutions and different ideas.
To find out how we can work together, contact our customer services team.
Okay, so that's all nice and well and done, but I think the key words that I take from that are independent learners, and you learn more. Yes, you will learn more during the IGCSE, probably more than you've done in previous years. So I think it's really key to say that the IGCSE will be perfect preparation for the early years, absolutely. But how does it look in the classroom? Well, for me, basically discussion and group work is a key feature of IGCSE. If you happen to come to my world literature English classroom, you will see that the students do a lot of talking. And it's actually good talking, it's not just talking. There's lots of feedback, there's lots of me facilitating, there's lots of them driving the discussion forward. That is a key feature of the IGCSE. It's not an idea of chalk and talk. Yes, there is content, but we are very much enthusiastic of knowledge that the students have voice in the classroom as well. So you will definitely see lots of discussion, group work activities, a variety of activities, critical thinking. This all takes place in the classroom. And one of the points at the bottom there is the subject content is wide-ranging and detailed. You will, I'm talking to students now, you will cover quite a variety of aspects in your subjects. So much so that some of it even goes into the HSC. So it's a nice little bridge into the curriculum. And of course, note-taking is really something that does need to take place with students when you're in these classrooms, be it on the laptops, be it self-organised. I think the key point for me for the IGCSE, it's not about exams or about content as such, it's about skills. Every single one of the Year 8 kids in this room today will be so ready for Year 11 because you've got the exam skills, you've got the in-class skills. It really does refine you and make you ready for further study. Alright. So, as I say, excellent preparation, it really is. The class content is highly relevant. I teach world literature English. It's probably the first time my students have come across writers from South Africa, from India, from Pakistan, the whole lot. It is really globally focused. You would know global perspectives, probably one of our favourite courses at the school. Case studies, studies from Singapore, studies from around the world. It is an international curriculum. Students will be challenged to think globally and of their surroundings, and very, as I said before, engaging group work discussions. The final bullet point is something that, I'll repeat, but it's something that impresses me most about the IGCSE is study skills are so refined during this programme. If you're going into the DP and the HSC, you will be ready, without doubt. You will be ready. So I have another video, but do you want to watch that or move on? Are you videoed out? It's maths, so it's not my subject. I couldn't find an English one, so. Okay, I was watching then. It's only 3 minutes. Cheers.
I'm challenging
English is more interesting. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So some of you being for the maths thing tonight, this is the same course.
University of Cambridge International Examinations, CIE, is the world's largest provider of international qualifications for 14 to 19-year-olds. CIE developed the international GCSE over 20 years ago, and it is now the most popular international qualification for 14 to 16-year-olds. Cambridge IGCSE International Mathematics is a new qualification for schools offering an international curriculum.
I think you learn learn much more, and the things you do, you can apply them more to real life.
It was challenging, but also not too hard, and it really helped me this year, especially with maths and on IB, to prepare and have broad foundation for the quiz.
CIE developed the curriculum in conjunction with teachers in international schools. Before first teaching began, Cambridge and IB schools worldwide piloted the course and gave feedback on the syllabus.
The mathematics involved in it are much more current and much more in line with current needs for student learning.
Sometimes we're using technology, sometimes we're looking for patterns, sometimes we're trying to model the behavior of some variables. There's definitely a variety of what happens in the classroom. And kids get a lot out of that.
I'm managing to get through the course far quicker and students are getting far more from it.
I definitely enjoy teaching the new curriculum much more.
On the course, students practice thinking skills and learn subject knowledge through solving open-ended problems. Students learn investigation and modeling skills.
It's not only numbers, but it's also logic and arithmetic and think deeply.
The modeling and investigation was a bit different and a bit outside the box, and I guess that helped with lab reports, and especially in sciences this year.
I think really the students get very excited about what they're doing. There's a lot more hands-on stuff with the investigations and the other activities. They learn actually remember what's working there.
One of the special features of Cambridge IGCSE International Maths is learning the use of the graphical calculator, a key tool used by students studying for the IB diploma.
The graphical calculator is a great device. I found out you can do almost anything on it. You can draw graphs, model, investigate, you can do almost anything from it. And all of that I learned in maths in my IGCSE course.
It helped us like finding, for example, like, I don't know, like mean mode and median on the calculator and not always doing it per hand. For example, in science, we had to do a lab and I just grabbed my calculator, did it, and I got it.
Cambridge IGCSE is an internationally recognised qualification that can be integrated within an IB middle years programme in maths or offers a standalone curriculum. It prepares students for further study on the IB diploma, Cambridge International A and AS level, and beyond.
Prepares you for that E and especially the math, the calculator part. It helps you in other subjects as well, like economics. In the IB program, you need it, and if you get practice earlier, it's better for you.
It helps benefits the transition from IGCSE to IB.
Schools offering Cambridge International Maths have access to a number of CIE resources, including endorsed textbooks, a discussion forum, and website offering teacher support. For more information on Cambridge IGCSE, visit our website or telephone our customer services team.
What do you remember? You're in school, so you get the Q&A. What about the learning styles? What did you say about learning styles? Okay, what about skills?
I can use a calculator.
You can use a calculator. Thank God you can use a calculator. Yeah. I couldn't, but thank God, yeah. I'm after things like independent learning skills, and, thinking for yourself. For me, that's a big deal. It really is, because that is for me, that's the real signal of a strong student that can work by themselves. So it's really important for me. And it's global as well, as they said. So it's no more videos, it's okay. Assessment, okay. Just to give you an indication, when I did the GCSE maths, I got a grade C, which was fantastic for me, because I'm terrible at maths, absolutely terrible. So when you see all these grades, you have to think about the students that you have, your sons and daughters, strengths and weaknesses. For me, my grade C, mathematics was like an A star, to be honest. French, German, English, no problem whatsoever. Maths, many problems. I had to go and see my teacher all the time, lunchtime. My brother helped me because he was the maths geek in the house, I had no idea. And I got there in the end. So this is the grading. A star, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, U. The internal assessments that we have here are graded exactly the same. And in fact, they are basically based on what you'll be doing externally as well. So it's very, very authentic, the grades that you'll be getting in year 9 and 10, as to what you'll be expecting at the end of 2 years. We keep it very consistent. Traditionally, A star, A, B, C are seen as the highest grades. So I was happy with C in all maths. This is what we got last year. I won't talk over it because you can all see it, but sorry, you can't see it now. There you go. 56% A star, B. I think they are good results. We are an inclusive school. We do have a range of ability, so they are impressive results, I would say. And it's what, our third combo coming up. We're still quite young with the IG. Okay, you probably know of these guys because, well, we're very proud of them, and rightly so. These two guys are now in my DP literature class. And we've got Maddie and Amelia. Both did superbly. Best in the world for IGCSE PE and music. And I don't want to understate that. That is amazing. Best in the world. You came above everyone else. Pretty astounding. Both of these kids are in my DP Lit class now. And of course, you know, they're clever, they're motivated. But the thing I see most from these two kids is they're confident, they speak freely, they challenge me, they will ask me, what about this? What do you think about this? And I think that's the byproduct of the IGCSE. They are very mature students now. They feel confident in justifying their own opinions. So it's definitely influenced them greatly. And they are actually blooming in my IB class. Literature is quite a tough subject, and they are flying, absolutely flying. Okay, the kids' favourite, examinations. So yeah, 2-year programme, exams at the end. We have suppliers, Edexcel in Cambridge. Vast majority, 99% to Cambridge. We have some Edexcel, it's design technology, it's what else, art, but the vast majority are Cambridge. It's examinations, some have half-half, 60-40 coursework, and the majority of our students will study for the extended papers. I'll explain what the difference is now. Extended. Some students may have to transfer to core. So the IGCSE does cater for a range of abilities. So everyone is looked after. Core and extended. Okay, some subjects have core and extended papers. Extended, obviously, as the title says, have more detail, are extended. They literally are longer papers. 1 hour 45 core, maybe 2 hours for an extended paper. They are at a longer length, as you see. The key point to remember is extended are graded from A star to E. The highest grade is A star. Core, you want from C to G. So perhaps in 1985 when I did it, it would be better for me to do core. But we didn't have it then, everyone did it all together. So I got my C in the end. And the highest grade at core is a C. So to accommodate for this shift, if you like, we have set in year 9, it's year 9, term 4. There'll be a process of identifying core and extended to make sure that we can really look after all the students together. Maths do it as well. You would have heard about this tonight, so I won't really spend too much time on that. Student movements is English is considered if there are significant changes in the student's progress. The norm is for students to remain in the allocated class following the review of class sets in year 8 and 9. So, term 4, sorry. For English, we'll be looking at as we go along. We have a core paper for language. We do not have a core paper for literature. Everyone does a literature. So we would keep an eye on it as we go along. And I think this is also very handy as it ensures that we cater for the range of ability. Alright, exams. Yeah, can't avoid it. They are there. But the key point to remember is that I think the exam skills that you learn as a student will put you 2 years ahead when you get to the HSC and the DP, without doubt. Absolutely. That's by the bottom bullet point there. They take place in May and November. Again, vast majority in November. 2-year course. Yeah, take a look at that top bullet point. Revision skills, study techniques, examination techniques. As I said with those 2 girls before, when they came into my IB class, their study skills are absolutely superb. The note-taking, the revision, the independent learning, they go away and do far more study than I actually tell them to do. And that's because they've been influenced by the IGCSE, the independent thinkers now. So I think that's a wonderful, wonderful byproduct. And if you want to steal some past papers, well, there they are. It's a public website. It goes back to about 3 years. There's also things like schemes of work, which are plans. You'll see classroom resources that teachers sometimes use. Teachers obviously have another website that has more in there. And to be frank, if you just Google past papers, CIA, Cambridge, you'll get thousands. It's that big of the curriculum. So realistically for me, what I'd just like to finish with is that I have 2 kids in the school. My kids are 10 and what was my other kid? 6, sorry. I forget, she's a dog. They're not in the high school yet, but if they were, I would be very, very happy for them to do IGCSE. Because it will challenge them, it will feed them, and they will come out at the other end of it independent learners. And that's the most important thing for me. I'm done. Cheers. One more video. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm just going to quickly cover 2 more subjects that we have on offer for our students. So current year 8s who might want to listen to some other choices that they'll have. First of all, I'd just like to say one thing. I came to Singapore after 12 years in the UK, and I was very lucky to teach at the most oversubscribed school in the country, so all of England. And I think that Mr. Fernandez may be being a bit modest when he talks about our results, because I can say that 56% of your cohort to get A star to B grades is outstanding, and it's very impressive. And 12% of all those results to be A star to A is excellent. And I can also say that to have 2 students get the top of the world, my school that I was at in the UK, we would have had all the national newspapers visiting us and interviewing. So I think the Australian International School in Singapore has a lot to celebrate to be getting those results and to also be the top of the world. But it's not often you can actually say, we are the best in the world, and our students are. We'll take all the credit for getting those results. And also, the year before, was the year before that, we also had top of the world for global perspectives, which is absolutely excellent. So, what I would like to follow on when we look at the IGCSEs is when the students are selecting their subjects, they have 7 subjects that they can choose from that they'll be doing. And we also have, out of those 7 you're choosing, 2 of them they might want to consider this option. Now this is a vocational pathway. Now, we have 2 subjects on offer that students can do if they might enjoy a bit more practical based, a bit more skill based. And what we were looking at is we wanted to offer something different for the students as well. And we looked at what the trends were in Australia, and we knew that there were more vocational options being taken. We wanted to look at what we could do. So we worked very closely with AIS New South Wales, just to confuse us a little bit. That's the Australian Independent School of New South Wales. And we have a partnership with them, we're a member with them, and we talked about what options we could do, because we wanted to do some vet subjects. Now, to do a vet subject, you get a certificate. So Certificate 1 or Certificate 2 that you can get in secondary school. Now, that is nationally recognised, and it's actually also internationally recognised. For those of you who might be from Europe, it's equivalent to a BTEC as well, so that's what you do if you're in the UK. So we wanted something that could actually get a certificate, so equivalent of a qualification for our students. Now, with BOSTA, so with the Board of Studies that you work with in New South Wales, they don't allow you to do this freely. You have to go through a rigorous process, which we did. So we had inspectors come over here, they looked at our facilities, we invested quite heavily in being able to do this, to be able to offer hospitality and construction. So we're very excited that we can do this, and our students will get an accreditation for it. So, for you, those of you in Year 8 who are going to do 9 and 10, you could choose to do construction or hospitality, and you will get a certificate for it, Cert 1, which will be recognised. If you wanted to go on further to 11 and 12, you could get a certificate 2, which is equivalent of moving into TAFE, for those of you who are that in Australia. So these subjects will give industry skills. They're recognised, they're practical skills, problem solving, industry based, and we know that the industry are crying out for more students to move forward and have these skills. So students will get recognition, industry courses, and we're looking at, sorry, that should be that. You don't have to do a mandatory workplace. We will have workplace and practical that students would do. So they'll learn to be baristas, they'll be able to make coffee, we got waitressing, they've got gorgeous uniforms they'll be doing. Construction, we'll be doing bricklaying and learning all those qualifications. We will do it all on site. So it will all be done here at the school. And we've been checked, we are certified, so they're happy for us to be able to do it, and our staff are all fully trained to be able to deliver this. And it will move on naturally into the cert too. So when you're doing your subject selections, students, if you're interested in something to do more practical based, it could balance quite well for you. So have a look at your options and see if it fits in. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me. Also, students, Mrs. Harris is the one who's in charge of that program, so you can always go down to technology and things like that as well. Okay, so how to do the subject selections.
Okay. It's been a long night, so I won't keep it too much longer. The subject selection is a critical part of your students' progress. So we obviously have had the subject expo already, so the students have been introduced basically to the subjects. They have a general understanding of what is available. Additionally, you have your course guide, which you should be able to pick up here. Next term, we have the subject selection will open, and it's going to be using the similar feature of your Connect, where we'll send you out an email with a hyperlink. The students will then go on to Connect and be able to select their subjects. I'll go through and I'll show you an example of that. I did have a picture up on the next slide, but it was an old version, so we quickly got rid of it, and I'll show you it as a slide in a minute. That portal stays open for 1 week. After that week, it closes, and then we look at what subject selections have come in, and that then generates what blocks we are able to offer for the students. If there's any issues with clashes, so there's certain subjects that have been blocked against other subjects because of the numbers of students who have chosen one subject, and another subject dictates where they sit on the blocks. If there's 3 kids that have chosen one subject and those they also want to do another subject that clashes, we'll have to go back and discuss it with them and say, listen, is there a third choice? Part of the subject selection, we do ask for a alternative selection from them. Try not to use selection anymore. But we do actually get an extra choice from them. And that allows us a little bit of flexibility in assigning the best possible subject selection coursework for them. The final subject choices will be published hopefully around the end of the term. That's our goal. It is a little bit flexible because we also have to fit into that the Year 11 blocking selection, which will happen as well. I'll raise my voice at this point and I'll go through a live selection. So the page that will be sent out to you will be this page here. It's a fairly simple task. It will be sent out to the parents. First name, last name of the student, you should know that. There are some preconditions that we do need to be aware of, and these are published in the guidebook there. Economics and business studies cannot be chosen together, as well as art and design photography. So obviously those two subjects are too similar and should not be done together. First choice is your language elective, where you choose one of your languages that you'd like, and it's just a simple drop-down box like that. You have your elective 2 and elective 1, elective 2 and elective 3, and then finally an alternative elective. Then you submit the form, and that is the subject selections that are done. Now once the subject selections are done, if you do wish to go in and edit them, you can, if the window hasn't closed, still make those choices. And that's simply by going up to the top of the page, and I don't actually have one here. You'll actually have a little number 1 up there, which signifies that is the first choice that you've put in. Please, I ask that you only use that first choice. We had a small issue last year where people were doing multiple choices. They'd come home, they'd have a discussion, they'd put their first choice in. Then a day later they went, actually I want to change that, and then redid the whole form again. So we had multiple choices for this student, and we of course had to pull them in saying, what was your last one? That little box at the top will allow you to go into the original form and make those changes while the window is open. After the window is shut, you'll need to go and see Mr. Fernandez and have a discussion with him if you do wish to change any of your choices. Go back to the main slide. These are the preconditions that I spoke about earlier. They're also clearly identified in the IGCSE course. And that's the subject choice button that will be at the top. So at the top of your screen, once you've entered the subject choices for the first time, this number 1 will appear so you can go back and re-enter those ones. Any questions at this point?
The selection is done by the students or by the parents?
I will send it out to the parents. Hopefully you'll have some consultation with the children, but that's why I asked for your first, the name of your child. So your parents will be the one that will be logged in.
They will be logging into the selection.
Yeah. And I suppose another small point is that if, because it will be sent to both parents, the one that logs in will be the one that will have the course registered. So if you do want to go back and make any changes, use that same login that you made your first choices with. Otherwise, I'll have, yet again, 2 choices from 2 different parents.
When did the students make the choice to take a core rather than an extended exam?
Okay, for mathematics, it's generally done by their grades, and it says on the information which is on the page, which you haven't seen yet, that it's done in conjunction with their maths grades that they've received, as well as the English. It's only until they reach year 10, then they start differentiating into core and advanced. So year 9, they all do the same course.
Is there a cooling off period like there is with the IB? That if once they've started, that they find that it's completely not the right subject for them, there's not.
Yeah, absolutely. We don't encourage it, because if they're going to swap to something else, they've missed the first few weeks of something else. But realistically, it is something that does happen. The students might get into a course, and despite the amount of research they've done and asked questions and spoken to the relevant staff, they might get in and go, actually, this is not for me. So of course we're open to have a look. Yeah.
The only consideration there is that they'll have to choose their next subject from the blocks that are already created.
Yeah.
So the subject choices actually dictate what blocks actually run. So we actually designed the whole structure of the year 9 timetable around the subjects of the students choose.
I would say out of a cohort of about 150, there may be between 5 and 10 students that might choose to change in the first few weeks. Yeah. In addition to that, there may be a few that get tapped on the shoulder at the end of the first term, where we might make a recommendation to say, you know, is this the subject that you really want to be doing? We've noticed you're struggling, you're not achieving very well, are you enjoying it? Do we want to recognise or consider something else? But that's certainly in consultation with the parents. Yeah, they'd always be involved in that. Okay, well look, we're all here, at least for the next 20 minutes or so, so if you've got any individual questions, please don't hesitate to come up and ask. Thank you for coming along, and I wish you a very safe journey home. Thank you.